Hello everyone, welcome to a special edition. Thought I would do a video to show a little bit about what you can do for some healthy shoulders, specifically healthy shoulder exercises that are going to help us in our belly dance. This is a big topic. Shoulders, wow, even in my alignment course we spend an entire day on shoulders and arms. So I'm going to try to dwindle this down in the shortest little video that I can. What you're going to need is a block, a yoga block, and a strap. If you don't have a yoga block, just something that you can hold between your hands. I've even used like a water bottle for that. And if you don't have a strap, something like a towel or even a hip scarf can work very well for this. You just want something that's going to be at least 4 to 5 feet wide. Okay, so like I said, this is a pretty big topic. So the first thing I want to really make sure that I reiterate is the importance of both strength and flexibility in our shoulders. So our shoulder joint is a ball and socket joint, but unlike our hip joint, the ball of the humerus isn't actually setting into a socket. It's almost just kind of dangling there, and there are a lot of ligaments and tendons and muscles that help to hold that in place, and that's because we need a lot more mobility in our arms than of course we do in our legs. But that can sometimes cause some issues because we get used to moving our arms in certain ways throughout the day, and since there are a lot of ligaments and tendons to kind of hold those bones together, if we get an injury, it's less, it takes a little while for that to heal. So a lot of you that may have had previous shoulder injuries from when you were younger or just throughout your life, you may notice that that kind of flares up every once in a while. So the importance of strength and flexibility so that we have well-rounded, balanced shoulder joint. So the shoulders are also incorporated into, everything works as one, right? But I want to point out the neck and the back. And so I'm not going to work too much in those areas today. So if this interests you, I can do some future videos. Okay, so first things first, I'd like to work on some strength exercises. And notice I don't have any barbells or any weights. What I like to do is use a yoga block. I have 2 yoga blocks here. I have a foam one, which is pretty light, so this might be one you want to start with. And then I have a cork block, and this one is a little heavy, it may be 3 or 4 pounds. So I'm going to use the cork block today, and I'm going to show you a few strengthening exercises that we can do with this, and then we'll get into some flexibility exercises. Okay, so first things first, you can do this either seated or you can hold lunges or crescent. You can hold a high crescent pose, you can do this standing, you can do it sitting in a chair. I'm going to do it sitting on the floor for today. So first things first, come to a seated position, sitting up nice and tall. Make sure that your shoulders are stacked over your hips. You may tend to lean forward a little bit, so let's just lean back a little bit and make sure that we're sitting up nice and tall. Shoulders down and away from the ears, and just take a moment and kind of come into this space, make some little movements, wiggle a little bit, and then just kind of settle in. So we're going to hold this block in a way that we are squeezing the block between the palms of our hands. So I'm not gripping the block, I'm holding the block like so. So we're going to hold the block down, starting as low as we can, shoulders up, back, and away from our ears. And we're going to slowly, with that squeezing of the block, begin lifting our arms forward and then overhead, just to the point that you feel like you need to bring your shoulders up to your ears and then just stop there. Let's hold this for a couple of breaths. So when the block is overhead, you're squeezing that block together, almost like you're trying to crush it. Shoulders away from your ears. Nice long breath. If you're shaking, that's good. And then slowly, with control, we're going to lower it. Nice and slow. And sometimes I add a count to this, like a count of 8 or a count of 10, just to kind of keep myself in check and make sure that I'm not moving through the areas that tend to be a little harder. I'm not rushing through those. So let's add a count to this. Let's add a count of 8. So squeezing this together, once again, let's do the same exercise. So I'm also, like I'm reaching my arms forward, I'm not pulling them back. So see if you can reach your arms forward a little bit. And let's begin. So 1, 2, 3, 4, we're halfway. 5, 6, 7, 8. And let's hold here for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And let's lower for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, we're halfway. 3, 2, and 1. And you can release that block for just a moment. So simply using like some isometric contraction, really squeezing the block between the palms of our hands, can activate all of the muscles in our arms and into our shoulders. So I want to add in one more element to this, and we'll do this one more time and move on to some other exercises. When we are lifting the block, try to maintain the shoulders over the hips and the spine nice and long, and not getting the shoulders back and not really getting the rib cage and the thoracic spine into it to extend the shoulders. So what I mean by that is when you're lifting the block, at some point it's going to feel like, oh, something else has to move in order for me to get it overhead. That would be your edge. Just stay there and hold for a few breaths. If you do get it overhead, what we're trying to do is keep the spine straight, keep the shoulders down, and keep the arms lifted. We don't want to do this. Okay, so that's getting different muscles into where we're really trying to isolate through the arms and the shoulders. Okay, so let's do that one more time, keeping all of those elements in. We're squeezing the block, we're reaching the arms forward, and we're making sure that we keep our spine nice and long. We're not sticking out, we're not opening up and expanding through the thoracic spine. We're really just keeping everything straight. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, squeeze, 3, 2, 1, lower, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and let that go. We're going to get into a little flexibility shortly, but you're probably feeling this in your biceps. You may be feeling this in the tops of your shoulders and maybe even in the backs of your shoulders. So wherever you're feeling it, keep trying this, maybe squeezing a little harder each time or lifting a little higher each time. You're always welcome to just extend your arms forward. This is all about exploration with you and your body. Okay, another thing that I really like to do is I like to do some tricep work with here as well, because we typically don't work our triceps, and our triceps are the muscles underneath here. So our biceps and our triceps. And we tend to work our biceps a lot in everyday life, but our triceps don't get a whole lot of work. So for balance and for healthy shoulders, we've already got a block, we might as well work some triceps. So taking the block up overhead, and you can grip it this time, and then bending the elbows so that your block is behind your head. And maybe your block's here. This is also going to work a little bit with flexibility in the underneath part of your arms. So gripping the block, we're going to straighten the arms and bring the arms overhead. Remember, we're not trying to stick our chest out. We're trying to keep everything nice and long and even. And then lower. And then lift. And then lower. We'll do 2 more of these and you'll get the idea. Lift and lower, and then lift and then lower. Okay, and now I have 2 more strengthening exercises I want to share before we get into working with our strap. So, one of my favorite exercises, those of you that have been taking classes with me online or yoga classes in person, you know that one of my favorite exercises is plank pose. But I have found that forearm plank is really, really great for the shoulders, because then I can really work on getting my elbows underneath my shoulders and working on pressing myself away. So I'm going to show you forearm plank. We'll do it on our knees, but know that you can come up to the balls of your feet, and I'll show you what that looks like as well. So coming down on your belly, we're going to take our elbows underneath our shoulders, stacked, And you know, for this, you can even put a block between your hands and kind of squeeze the block so that you don't roll the hands to the inside or roll the hands to the outside, and you really can control the weight shift in your arms. So we're gonna have even weight between our elbow and either the sides of your hands if you're holding onto the block. The palms of your hands is what I prefer, and just holding onto the block with your thumbs. So play around with that. And now coming to your knees, engage your low belly and begin pressing yourself up to your forearms. So with your forearms, again, even weight between your elbow and your hands, and it's like you're pressing yourself away from the mat and engaging through the low belly. So we're not here, we're here. Or for those of you that want to come to the balls of your feet, you're here. So instead of sinking down and having our scapula coming towards each other, our shoulder blades coming towards each other, we are pressing ourselves away actively and still breathing. Let's hold this for a couple more breaths. Just really pressing yourself away. And then lower to your knees if you're not there already. Lower down to the belly. And we're going to go through one more of my favorite exercises using the block and using our yoga mat since we have it out. Okay, so another exercise that's also really great for your Arabic steps, your Egyptian steps, anything that has the arms overhead, would be to come down on your belly and extend your block. I'm going to use the foam block this time, but you can certainly use a cork block. Obviously, it just adds weight. We're going to extend our arms nice and long. Now here's the thing, remember we're not trying to get into the thoracic, we're really trying to keep everything straight. So engage your low belly, keep your ribs in, and then looking down at the mat, you can even have your forehead down on the mat, and we're just going to lift the block off of the floor. Check in and make sure that it's totally just a movement in the shoulder joint. You're not squeezing anything else together. And then lower. Another option here is to pulse. So let's pulse for 10, right? So we're gonna lift the block up and we're gonna pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, squeezing the block, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold it up, hold it up, hold it up, and then let it go. And then take your hands underneath your shoulders, press yourself back, take a little child's pose. So just extending the arms forward, sinking the hips down towards the heels. You'll notice that you open up the underside, the posterior side of the arm. Couple of breaths here. And then come up to a seat. Okay, so we will go back down to our mat shortly, but let's go ahead and move on to using our strap. So again, you can use a strap, you can use a belt, you can use a hip scarf, you can use a towel. So with the strap, we're gonna start by just holding it about, let's say, knee distance apart if your legs are crossed. And again, checking in with your posture, so shoulders up, back, and down, and stack your shoulders over your hips. So let's just begin gripping our strap, and like you're pulling it apart. So the edges of your shoulders are like pulling apart as well, making some space around your neck. And then we're gonna slowly, just like we did with our block, begin lifting our strap overhead. And since the arms are a little wider, you may find that it's a little bit easier, right? We've activated the contraction in the muscles as well. So now we can get into a little flexibility with this by opening the hands a little bit wider. And then from here, let's go ahead and add a side bend. So contracting the right side of your obliques, or the right obliques, taking the strap in your arms over to the right, and then coming back through center, and let's take them over to the left. Always checking in with your shoulders being away from your ears, not extending too much in the ribs, and then coming all the way back up, and then slowly taking the strap all the way back down. So I recommend doing that with that size about 5 times. And again, you can add a count to that. Let's go ahead and take a little bit of a wider grip. So just slowly making this a wider grip with our strap. And then we're going to start lifting our arms overhead. Nice and slow, pulling the strap apart. And then maybe you'll find that you can take your arms a little farther back. Now watch out, because this is going to want to happen. Suck all that in. Arms are strong, shoulders are away from your ears. Maybe you can take the arms a little farther back. So you may be feeling a little stretch along the front side of your arms, some contraction, some energy in the back side of your arms. And then slowly, with control, coming all the way back down. So coming out of it is just as important as going into it. Okay, so now we can take the strap a little bit wider. I think you know where we're going with this. So actively pulling the strap apart, let's begin lifting the strap up. And behind, without the rib cage sticking out. It feels so good. This is also, people do arm stretches or shoulder stretches with their arm against a door frame. And for me, this feels about the same, only I'm working with both arms at the same time. So I'm able to really tap in and feel, is my right side working more than my left? Is my right side or my left side more flexible? We're just having a sensation. What are the sensations in my arms, and are they different from each side? Maybe even taking it a little farther back. So you can stay right where you are, but I want to show you that eventually you may be able to keep working with this movement to take your shoulders safely with strength, pulling the strap all the way back into a lot of external rotation. And then you're going to want to work with it slowly to bring it all the way back up. And maybe you just take it halfway back. Maybe it never goes past your ears. Maybe it never makes it to your ears. That's totally fine. The object is to work within your edge, and your edge means just outside of your comfort zone, where you feel a little discomfort but no pain. Definitely not yanking your arms back there, definitely going through really smooth and really safely. Okay, let's do a little more stretching. This time we're going to go down on our bellies again. Have your strap close. So coming down on our bellies, we're actually going to take the strap behind us this time. So you can do this next exercise with your hands interlaced, but not many people can interlace their hands behind them. So if you take a strap, or if you're in class and you want to take your hip scarf, you can then adjust your arms to what feels right for you, yeah? So I'm going to bring mine a little bit closer together. So engaging your low belly, so it's almost like your pubic bone is pressing down into the floor. Keep the tops of your feet down and really squeeze your legs together, engaging through the inner thighs. And then we're going to pull the strap apart, and we're also going to begin pulling the strap down towards our feet. So just getting into the middle and upper back a little bit to support the shoulders. Stretching out the front side of the body through the pecs. And then slowly lower down. Let's do that one more time. I'm going to bring my hands now closer to the strap, or closer together on the strap, and then pulling the strap apart. So actively pulling the strap apart and then pulling the strap down towards my feet. You want to make sure that you're breathing here. If you go so far that you can't breathe, then you've gone way past your edge, and just back out of the posture a little bit. And then slowly lowering all the way down. Toss your strap over to the side. Take your hands underneath your shoulders, pressing yourself up and then back once again into a child's pose. And take a couple of deep breaths here. So as you exhale, with every exhale, think about relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the armpits down towards the mat or your floor a little bit more. coming up into a tabletop position. So 2 more exercises for a little flexibility in the shoulders, showing the shoulders a little love. Let's come into a tabletop position. Our fingers are spread nice and wide. Our wrists are underneath our shoulders and our knees are underneath our hips. Let's go ahead and take this left arm up. We'll do the left side first. We're gonna take the left arm up, just opening up with a little twist. And then we're gonna thread the needle. So we're taking these fingers and this arm behind our right arm. And I want you to reach so far over to the right side of your room, so far like you can touch that wall, and then slowly begin bending your right arm so you can come down on that left shoulder. And you can lower the left side of your temple or the left side of your face down on your floor or on your mat. And you can stay here, or you have options. So you can take this right arm and you can take it behind you, and what this does is it just kind of adds a little more weight to this left side, but also helps open up this right shoulder if you think about the elbow going up towards the ceiling. And then bringing this right hand underneath your right shoulder if it's not there already, pressing yourself up, opening up a little bit more, and then lowering that hand down. So now let's do the other side. So we're going to take this right hand, we're going to reach the right arm up, and then we're going to thread that needle. So the right arm goes behind the left, and really, really reaching as far as you can reach to open up the space behind the scapula, and then slowly lowering down so that the side of your, almost like you're giving your temple a little massage. And again, you can stay here. You can even add a little pressure into that left hand, give a little slight twist, a little rotation in the spine. Or you can take this left arm up and just bring it down to your hip. Couple of breaths here. There are other variations like extending the left leg here, whatever leg is goes with the arm that's up, but for now this is plenty. And then bring that right arm up. If it's not already down, set it down under your left arm, set it down under your left shoulder, and bring it all the way up. And set it back down. Okay, so one last little thing as we round up our Healthy Shoulders segment. Go ahead and take your strap, and I'll sit to the side so you can see what's going on. Take your strap behind you. And it's very similar to what we did when we were laying down, only now you don't have as much body weight to pull up on, so it's going to be a little bit easier. You can get a little bit deeper in this. Sitting up nice and tall, shoulders stacked over your hips, just begin to take the arms, pulling the strap apart and taking the arms up towards the ceiling. Couple of breaths here. And then go ahead and release. So those are just a few of the very many exercises that you can do for shoulder stability and shoulder strength and shoulder mobility. I encourage you to work with all of those, see what works for you. Move slowly, make sure that you can breathe through everything. If you've had previous issues with shoulders, maybe do only the things that you did in PT or that are okay by your doctor. If you don't have a block, remember you can use even like a medicine ball or a water bottle. Okay, if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the comments. Thank you for joining me, and I hope your shoulders feel really great. Thank you.